Welcome to the Abrams Boxing Show, powered by Last Out Media and brought to you by www.15rounds.com, the worldwide leader in boxing news. Also, Abrams Boxing PR Media and Broadcasting, the industry standard for boxing media relations and play-by-play broadcasting. Also, check out www.abramsboxing.com, Abrams Boxing on YouTube, as well as M. Abrams Boxing on Twitter and Marc Abrams Boxing on Instagram. Greetings, boxing fans. This is Marc Abrams. Welcome to another edition of the Abrams Boxing Show. Got right down to it after a long and hot week in Las Vegas. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever been in 115 degrees for 5-6 straight days, but it can really wear you out. But that's where we were last week. We were there to witness all the activity last week that was culminated by Terence Crawford going to 40-0 with his 31st knockout as he became the undisputed welterweight champion world, as he destroyed former WBC, IBF, and WBA title holder Errol Spence Jr. Spence Jr. now 28-1 with 22 knockouts. Stopped him in round 9 to become the undisputed welterweight champion world in front of almost 20,000, make that 19,990 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Terence Crawford was sensational. He was as good as I've seen anyone fight, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years. That was as good a performance against a guy who was considered a top 5, top 6 pound-for-pound fighter. And Errol Spence Jr. Took for lack of a better term, an ass-kicking by Terence Crawford on Saturday night. Crawford, it's funny, when you're in airports and taking long plane rides home, you're thinking, you put these performances in perspective, and you say to yourself, you know what? The guy who was supposed to be, or he calls himself TBE, the best ever, Floyd Mayweather Jr. I'm not calling for a fight. Floyd Mayweather's 46 years old or something and very retired. But the best Floyd Mayweather against the best Terence Crawford, I'm going Terence Crawford in that one. I never thought I would say something like that. But after Saturday night, you have to consider that. Terence Crawford is just a machine. Offensively, defensively, he actually walked through some shots that Spence landed, and he was just so on point. So we're going to have to see if they're going to exercise the rematch clause. Spence indicated that he would, and he'd be better. I don't know if I want to see that again. I don't know if Errol Spence Jr. wants to see that again. I mean, that was like going through hell for Errol Spence Jr. For 9 rounds. He was all beat up, face was cut up. But props and kudos to, for me, the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport. No question, despite what Naoya Inoue did last week with Stephen Fulton, Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world right now, pound for pound. Undercard on a Saturday night in a WBC lightweight elimination bout, Mexico's Isaac Cruz defeated a split decision over Giovanni Cabrera. Cruz now 25-2-1, Cabrera 21-1. I thought the fight was pretty lopsided, but somehow scores were 114-113 for Cabrera, 114-113, 115-112 for Cruz. I mean, Cruz came in and basically dictated the whole fight. Cabrera would land some shots here or there on the incoming Cruz. I actually gave Cruz 10 rounds in that fight, so I don't see how, but the right guy won the fight Saturday night, and Cruz is now going to position himself for a rematch with Gervonta Davis. We'll see if that happens coming up soon. Alexandro Santiago went to 28-3-5 as he won a 12-round unanimous decision over future Hall of Famer Nonito Donaire. Donaire 42-8. Santiago is now the WBC bantamweight title, one of the titles that Inoue actually gave up. So the Santiago is now a new player in the bantamweight division. And kicking off the pay-per-view portion, late replacement Yoenis Taez, 6-0 with 5 knockouts, stopped Sergio Garcia in round 3. Garcia now 34-3. Taez just beat the living daylights out of Garcia, dropped him a couple times, fight stopped. So that was a good way to kick off the pay-per-view portion. Friday night at the Palms, I was also there in Las Vegas. Seniesa Estrada successfully defended her WBC and WBA minimum weight world titles by scoring a close decision over former flyweight champion Leonela Udica. So that headlined the ESPN Plus card on at the Palms in Las Vegas. And after the fight, we had a chance to catch up with Seniesa Estrada, and this is how.
Start just what were your thoughts of the fight? Just general thoughts of the fight in there.
Going into the fight, I knew I was going to be up against a fighter who weighed more and was naturally bigger because she's a natural flyweight. So started off a little slow and then picked up my game plan by listening to my corner. And I've been having a problem with my finger, so I think I might have fractured my finger early in the fight. So kind of stopped me from throwing my right hand as often as I wanted to.
Could you tell us about your decision to switch from orthodox to southpaw and back to orthodox, Seniesa?
Yeah, that's just something that has always been part of my style since I was a kid, since I was 8 years old when I first started boxing. Switch hitting has just kind of been my thing.
And which side do you consider yourself stronger at?
I mean, definitely right-handed, but I find myself being able to land certain punches better in the southpaw sense as well.
At the end of the fight, she let out a yell as if she felt she had won the fight. I don't know if you saw her do that. What did you think going to the cards? I mean, did you think you decisively won? Did you think it was close?
Yeah, going to the cards, I knew that I was ahead. I mean, one thing about my corner, they're definitely not going to lie to me. When I came back in the second round, they were like, "You lost that round." So I didn't do enough in that round. So yeah, I definitely trust my corner when they tell me that if I'm ahead or not. So I knew I was. I knew I clearly won.
She was able to connect with left hooks early on. What adjustments did you and your corner make to not have you get hit so often with left hooks?
Yeah, she is a boxer. She moves. The times that she does try to come forward, she kind of jumps in with those wide punches, like you said. Sorry. So I kind of had to make an adjustment by staying close to her in the inside and staying down. That way her wild shots go over my head. So that's one of the adjustments that we made towards the middle and end of the fight.
How difficult was it? How convinced are you?
Convinced of what?
The decision.
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought I won the fight, definitely. Yeah.
What worked best for you, Seniesa?
What worked best for me was when I made the adjustment to stay close to her on the inside, because she wanted me to stay on the outside to have a bit of a distance so she can leap in with those wild long shots that she throws. So because I kind of couldn't really use my right hand the way I wanted to, I was kind of hesitant to go in, because our game plan that we're working on during training camp was to lead with the right hand or throw more overhand rights, throw more hooks to the body with the right hand. So it kind of took me a bit I kind of had to adjust that, because I was like, okay, I can't really use my right hand the way I want to, so I kind of had to get in the inside by just covering up at times and just staying low and then countering.
Now, stylistically, was she one of your most difficult opponents, and how would you rank her amongst the many opponents that you faced?
Stylistically, I think, I mean, she's a natural flyweight, so that was definitely something that made it difficult, because she was going to go in there as the bigger, heavier fighter, and I already knew that going into the fight. And yeah, it's difficult to fight somebody who kind of just leaps in with wild shots like that. You have to have good timing, and you have to make sure that you don't get caught on the way in or on the way out with certain shots, which of course I did get hit with certain shots like that. But then when my trainer kept reminding me to make those adjustments, make sure you stay low on the inside, that way your shots go over your head.
How different would a fight with Fallon look?
I mean, I feel like I've faced fighters in my career who are better than Yoko Sabaya. She's just very basic, slow feet, no footwork. I mean, it's the fight I've been wanting. I just want this fight to happen already.
Oh, sorry.
You think Udica's better than you?
Well, it's different styles, because Udica is more of a boxer mover. Yokosa kind of just stays in one spot and comes forward.
Now that you've got a little acquainted with her in the ring tonight, how excited are you for that unification or undisputed title? And you feel now that the undisputed title is now in reach?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, hopefully her being here is a step forward to making the fight happen. This is this is the date that we offered her to fight for the undisputed fight, but they couldn't make it happen. Whether it was her and her team and Golden Boy Promotions, whoever, they just didn't make it happen for this fight. So hopefully we can get that going next.
You mentioned about going to her backyard. Would you be willing to do that?
I'm not going to Costa Rica. She makes chump change in Costa Rica. If she wants to make good money, she can come here and fight me. The offer that we made to her in the first place was very good. So, yeah, there's no reason for me to go there. She can come here.
How confident are you that that fight could realistically be next compared to like after the Rubric fight?
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty confident that it could happen next. I mean, hopefully her being here wasn't just her just showing up just to show up. Hopefully that was a step forward into making the fight actually happen next.
Seniesa, a lot of the noise in women's boxing is in the upper weight divisions. Katie Taylor, Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall, etc. We've seen what Inoue's been able to do as a lower weight fighter in men's boxing.
Yeah.
The pathway to his success has been through Undisputed. Is that what you're chasing as well?
Definitely. My goal is to be undisputed in 3 different weight divisions. So I want to do it by starting off being undisputed at minimum weight, going up to light flyweight, doing it there, and then going to flyweight, and hopefully doing the rematch with Marlon Esparza when she has all the belts. That'll be a great fight, big fight for women's boxing. So, yeah, that's my goal. Be undisputed more than one.
Working with Oscar and Golden Boy before and trying to make the fights, on the other side, does that become difficult, or have you guys already, just because, your relationship?
Yeah, I mean, of course that's played a part. It's business, and I think Golden Boy Promotions, they know what's going to happen when I face Yocosta Vaya. They know who's a better fighter skillfully. There's levels to this, and I'm definitely on another level than Yocosta Vaya.
Do you think there's any type of bitterness because they did promote you, they build you up, they know what you now? It's like, why should we help you reach your goal if it's over here at Top Rank opposed to Golden?
Oh, of course, that's definitely a part of it. But I'm confident that Top Rank will work through that, the business part of it, and make it happen.
Happy with Top Rank, and how does the experience compare to your experience with Golden Boy?
Everything's been great with Top Rank. I'm just grateful that they believe in me and they're giving me this opportunity and platform to headline and to just go after all the fights that I want.
What would you rate this performance?
Would I rate this performance? I would rate it, I don't know, like a D minus.
I knew you were going to be hard on yourself.
I'm always hard on myself, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to fight through injuries, and I try to listen to my corner as much as possible, not without them knowing the pain that I was going through with my right hand. So.
Did you know that Vaya was going to be here today, or was that a surprise?
I didn't know that she was going to be here. Yes. So I mean, it's a good thing. Hopefully, it leads to the fight happening.
Was the finger a camp injury that happened during the fight?
Oh man, it happened many fights ago, and it's kind of an injury that I deal with during training camp here and there, but it's not as bad as tonight. Yeah.
How long are you willing to wait for the Vaya fight to happen before you make a decision to move on to a different opportunity?
I'll speak to Top Rank in a couple of weeks and see what they have planned as far as the next date for me, and hopefully Yocosta everything works out. Looks like it's going smoothly with accepting the offer, but if we can't make that happen, they know that I don't want to wait around from her. I want to move on, and I want to go to light flyweight and hopefully fight the winner of Kim Cabao and Jessica Plata, and just, I guess, move up, become unified champion there, and then hopefully when Yocosta's ready, I'll go back down and I'll fight her. I don't know, but.
So you think the injury for your hand, is it going to require surgery? Is it just something you need to rest for a long time, or?
It could just be a small fracture that just needs to be. It just needs some rest. I think so.
Could delay your return to the ring a little bit because you might need more rest, or?
I don't think so. I'll when I get back home, I'll get an X-ray on Monday and see. But I don't think it'll be anything that'll keep me out of the ring for long.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
There you have it, Seniesa Estrada with a big victory the other night over Leonela Udica to retain her unified minimum weight titles. Look for the big fight with Yocosta Valley. Hopefully next be a good fight. Valley was there, as Seniesa said. They a little stare down face to face in the ring. So hopefully that leads to the title fight. Also on the undercard, actually the co-feature, Andres Cortes stopped Xavier Ramirez Cortes now 20-0, 11 knockouts. Martinez now 18-2 with 12 knockouts in round 7 in a junior lightweight fight. Cortes, excellent performance, kind of beat down Martinez slowly until he got the stoppage, and that was the end of that. And after the fight, I had a chance to exclusively meet up with the winner of the fight, Andres Cortes, and this is how it's.
Here with Andres Cortes, earned a well-earned victory, stopped Xavier Martinez after round 7 tonight. Tell us about the fight.
It was a good fight. It was competitive early. I felt like I adjusted, and I had to do what I had to do. And I seen the stoppage coming. He didn't like the shots I was hitting him, and I realized since the first round his face was getting marked up, so I kept targeting certain areas.
You started breaking him down. I could see probably round 3, round 4s. Is that when you kind of noticed that you felt like you were in control of the fight?
I kept hurting him since the first round. He caught me too, but I felt like my shots were any shot I really hit him with flush, he didn't like, even body or head. And I started having fun in there, and I think once he saw that I was starting to have fun, he had the submission.
It's a big weekend, a lot of people here. How's it feel to get, maybe the biggest win of your career on such a big weekend?
It's a dream come true. All this stuff I've visualized, even the press conference and everything. I've kind of visualized me being here. I want a world title. I know this is a start to it, but that's my real goals, and that's what I'm really working for. And I'll be happy then.
Is it world title? I know you mentioned the ring. World title or go to 135. Is that your game plan?
I mean, I make 130 easy, so I really want to get a world title at 130. But
I mean, next.
Yeah, 130. Being realistic. But I mean, I just really want to be a world champion, and that's every fighter's goal. And if it's not your goal, you shouldn't be fighting. Yeah.
You mentioned Navarrete and Valdez. You gonna make a little trip to Phoenix on August 12th?
I'm gonna be there for sure, most definitely. It's an exciting fight, not even just because of me, but I want to see that fight. Honestly, it's a great fight.
Congratulations, terrific performance tonight, and maybe world title shot next for Andres Cortes.
Thank you.
Andres Cortes with the big victory in a nicely stacked 130-pound division. He's a guy to keep your eye out on. Maybe he will get the winner. Obviously, everyone between Navarrete, Valdez, Cortes, all with top rank. So, the fight might be able to happen. Wednesday night in Kissimmee, Florida, Orlando Gonzalez pounded out a 10-round unanimous decision over Ramiro Cessna. Gonzalez now 21-2. Cessna now 16-2-1. Scores are 97-93 and 96-94 twice for Orlando Gonzalez. This Saturday night, we don't have the mega fights that we had last week in Japan, and obviously Spence and Crawford. But we do got Jake Paul, 6-1, 4 knockouts, taking on pro debuting Nate Diaz from the American Airlines Arena in Dallas, Texas. You can watch the fight on ppv.com. You can watch the fight on ESPN Plus. You watch the fight on the Zone pay-per-view. So a lot of ways to watch the fight. A pretty deep card in the sense that you're going to have a lot of fights. Undisputed featherweight champion Amanda Serrano will take on Heather Hardy in a rematch. Undefeated lightweight Austin Silva takes on William Silva. Super middleweight Chris Avila takes on MMA fighter Jeremy Stevens in an 8-round bout. The number 1 ranked super middleweight contender female Shadesia Green, who wants a fight with either Savannah Marshall or Clarissa Shields. She's the mandatory challenger for Marshall. She'll fight Olivia Curry. Welterweight Alan Sanchez takes on Angel Beltran. This Friday night, I'll be in attendance. Bethlehem, PA. Jordan White takes on Erickson Garcia to headline a Showbox triple header at the Wind Creek Event Center. Co-features see Paul Kroll take on Guido Schramm, and the opener will be Julian Gonzalez taking on Johnny Spell. RDR Promotions will be back Friday night with a big fight, the Clarion Hotel in Essington, PA, live on BXNG TV. News of the week, the WBO Championship Committee denied the request for number 1 rated junior welterweight Arnold Barbosa to be named mandatory challenger for Teofimo Lopez. Lopez we'll see. He's got hopefully something good coming up in the fall. Japan's unified champion, the WBC and WBA light flyweight champ, Kenshiro Teraji will defend his titles against South African two-division world champion Heki Butler on September 18th at the Araki Arena in Tokyo, Japan. I think that was the same arena where Fulton and Inoue got it on. In the co-featured Japanese southpaw Junto Nakatani, 24 24-0, 19 knockouts, takes on our RG Cortes, be the first defense of the WBO junior bantamweight title. Cortes 25-3-2. That fight will be streamed live on ESPN+. Matchroom confirmed yesterday that Lee Wood will take on Josh Warrington on October 7th in Sheffield, England for the WBA featherweight championship. That'll be world televised and streamed on the Zone. WBC, WBO, and IBF light heavyweight champion Arthur Beterbiev's title defense against Callum Smith, which was supposed to take place on August 19th, has been postponed due to a bone infection in the jaw of Beterbiev. That don't sound too pleasant. Bone infection in your jaw. Unbeaten light heavyweight Tommy Fury will face yet another YouTube star coming off the win against Jake Paul. He'll take on KSI, who's 2-0 with one knockout. Paul 9-0, 4 knockouts. That will take place October 14th at the AO Arena in Manchester, England. Also, undisputed lightweight champion Devin Haney will take on Regis Prograis on October 28th in Las Vegas. That's going to be an excellent fight. Haney, of course, is the undisputed lightweight champion. I don't know if he's going to give up the other 3 belts, but he told the WBC he wants to keep the WBC belt. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know if it's more to stick it up the Shakur Stevenson, as they've been kind of having war to words on Twitter. I don't know, because they really haven't said anything about the WBA, the IBF, the WBO titles, but he made specific that he wants to keep the WBC title. So I don't know if that's more or less about kind of sticking a little bit to Shakur Stevenson. So we'll see what happens with Prograis and and Stevenson. Prograis and Haney, and then Shakur Stevenson on the outside looking in. WBO mini flyweight world champion Oscar Collazo, 705 knockouts, makes the first defense of his title when he takes on Garan Diagon, 10-3, 5 knockouts. That'll be August 26th. That will be streamed live on the Zone from the Casilla Roberto Clemente in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Former WBA super lightweight champion Albert Puello will be removed from the WBA rankings and will not be able to fight until October. Puello tested positive right before his fight with Rolando Romero a couple months back, and the Nevada Commission found with the drug test, and then Puello again now had to deal with the WBA, and he learned his fate. Light heavyweight Anthony Yard will be back on September 23rd. He'll take on Ricky Summers, the 2-time world title challenger. That'll be part of the Zhang Zhilei, Joe Joyce rematch undercard live at the Oval Arena in London. So I want to thank everyone for joining us this week. I want to thank Seniesa Estrada and Andres Cortes for joining us. We'll join us next week. We'll have some interviews, a lot of fallout from the Jake Paul fight. We'll look ahead to the week that is, and hopefully have some good post-fight interviews from the Showbox card. Don't forget this Friday night live on Showtime, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So for everyone, I'm Marc Ames, and we'll see you next week on the Abrams Boxing Show.